Hi, my name is Gina and I am a Tropical Vedic Astrologer, and I use the whole sign, whole house system. And today we are going to talk about the moon and the different moon signs. Before I discuss the moon signs, I want to quickly go over what is the moon. What is the significance of the moon in our charts? Many people connect to the description of their moon sign more than their sun sign. It's a really significant planet in everyone's chart, and the moon represents how we perceive the world, and it represents our preferences, our likes and dislikes. The moon also corresponds to the mother. So when we're between the ages of 0 and 1, this is the time period that shapes the condition of our moon in our charts. If our moon is extremely starved because it's conjunct Saturn, that can show us some things that was happening when between your ages of 0 and 1. Maybe your mom was going through an extremely stressful situation, or your moon can be with its friend Mercury, and Mercury is really helping your moon. The moon represents how we get our needs met, and it also represents how we get nurtured. So if our mother was able to nurture us, and if our mother was able to give us what we need when we needed that thing, that could have really benefited us. And because of that time period between 0 and 1, we're used to having our needs met, or maybe not having our needs met. So the moon also represents our comforts. What do we feel comfortable with? And that is usually a reflection of how we experienced life between the ages of 0 and 1. Another thing that the moon represents is our adaptability, because in this world we're not always able to get 100% of our needs met. That's not possible. But what the key is with the moon is how adaptable are we? And the moon also represents our home, our environment, especially between the ages of 0 and 1. Are we used to getting our needs met? Are we used to having a lot of nurturing, a lot of care, between those ages? So we might get used to that. We might expect that. Was our mom or mother figure unable to be there 100% of the time? Maybe she worked 2 jobs. Maybe she had other kids as well. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the moon, but I think this is a great start, a great foundation. And right now I am going to dive into each moon sign. If you haven't already, please check out my moon boards on my website at hercosmiccrown.com/astrology, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see my moon boards and a quick description of each moon sign. But I am going to describe each moon sign more in detail right now. Scorpio Moon. The description I have for Scorpio Moon is profound feeler, alchemist, intensely intuitive, and self-healer. A lot of you have heard that Scorpio is an intense sign. It's the most intense sign there is, and because of this, it intrigues a lot of people. A lot of people are intrigued by the sign of Scorpio because it's so mysterious and deep. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and it's also a water sign. So we have Mars, which is the planet of our willpower. It's about fighting for something. It's about, it can be a passionate planet, and Scorpio can be a passionate sign. It rules the genitals. And water is emotion. And then a person with their moon in Scorpio, the moon itself is emotion. So combine all of those things, we have intense emotions, profound emotions. I have a picture at the top of Mars. This is the planet Mars that rules Scorpio. And I have an eagle. The eagle has to do with rising above our psychological issues. Scorpio is an intensely psychological sign. And there are 2 parts to the Scorpio. one part that has to do with succumbing to these deep-seated issues that we have as humans, these psychological issues. But the other part is being an alchemist, using those negative forces within us and around us, and using that for change. So Mars is a planet of fixing things. So a person with their moon in Scorpio can have that power of changing themselves. They can be self-empowered and rise above those issues, but they can't get to that level of rising above their issues until they face themselves, and until they face, their shadows, as a lot of people say, and doing the work. Okay, Mars is about doing the work. It's a masculine planet. It is about doing. So even though Scorpio is a feminine sign, we still have to do the work within ourselves. Scorpio is the 8th sign, and it's related to Rahu in a way, which is the north node of the moon. And Rahu has to do with looking within and understanding that the environment is constantly giving us messages about ourselves. So if a person gives us a dirty look, what's going on in our head mentally? If we're thinking, I need to show them how I am good enough, how I'm valuable, that person is actually doing us a favor, because they're showing us how we are triggered. We're being triggered because maybe they are reflecting that maybe we don't value ourselves. So instead of getting mad and angry and projecting onto that person or that information externally that is giving us information about ourselves, instead of attacking that thing or person, we can use that energy and transform ourselves and let those outside things inform us about how we feel. So if someone's giving us information and making us feel small, well, maybe I make myself feel small. Maybe this is how I feel about myself. How can I change that? How can I feel confident in myself? So that is where that's what Scorpio is. It's about rising above those psychological issues that we have. Another thing that I have in the Scorpio moon board, I have lightning, because lightning is that it's fiery, it's that passion, it's that spark. And Scorpio can be a fiery sign, but it's more of this internal fire. It's not fiery in the same sense as we think of when it comes to Aries, but it's this fire, this inner fire that a person has, and that fire can be used to transform and transmute energy, which is beautiful. Mars has to do with energy. And then I also have this lotus flower on top. So everything I'm talking about right now are things above the surface, and there's so much going on underneath the surface, and that is Scorpio. Scorpio is a hidden sign. It represents hidden things and things that are below the surface, and there's a lot going on below the surface. And that lotus flower is that flower that blooms out of the mud, out of the dirt. And also you see these clouds in the background with the Scorpio moon board, and I have that because even though they are transforming themselves, hopefully, and becoming better, there's still these gray clouds in the background showing that there's always more work to do. Okay, there's something coming in the background, and there could be something unexpected. And the 8th sign, or the number 8, represents unexpected things that can come out of nowhere. But when we get to a higher level of consciousness, we are able to tackle those things. We are able to handle those things because we've learned through previous experiences how to transmute any energy, negative or positive. Below the surface, I have a lot of things that are hidden. One thing that I have at the very bottom, I have a couple of snakes here. And snakes can represent the opposite of the eagle, which is our demons. Snakes are very scary to a lot of people. If they see a snake, they get scared. And snakes represent these hidden, psychological things that we have that we just don't want to face. There's so many dark things within our emotions that we just don't want to even go through. But if we have a lot of bravery And it's important for Scorpio moons. We want to look at their Mars. How courageous are they? How courageous are they when it comes to going to these unknown places? I also have some pills there, some hidden pills, because pills can be addictions. Some people, instead of facing their fears or facing these shadow parts or facing the things that trigger them, they may turn to alcohol, or they can turn to pills, drugs, things like that. So hidden beneath the surface, there can be a person who is trying to self-medicate through those things to heal their pain. Scorpio is the sign of emotional security. I also have hidden here Carl Jung, and he was a German psychologist, and he did a lot of work when it comes to the subconscious. He actually believed in astrology, and he deals with the subconscious mind, and Scorpio is such a subconscious sign. I have a picture of Rue, or Zendaya, who played Euphoria, and to me Euphoria had like a very Scorpio feel to it. It can be very dark. It has to do with pain. It has to do with addiction and taboo things that you don't want to talk about in society, things you don't want to acknowledge. But this picture of Rue, she is crying. She's in a lot of pain, and that is what Scorpio is about. Scorpio is about that pain, but it's also about transmuting that pain. What do we do with that pain? I just have a picture of a ghost or a demon, if you want to think of it that way, and those demons within us. What do we do? Can we learn from those demons from within us? Can we bloom? Can we grow from those things? Scorpio is a sign that has to do with growth, but it is growth, and growth can be very painful. It has to do with growing pain. See if you see anything else hidden in this moon board, and let me know below what you think those hidden messages mean. Let me know if you have your moon in Scorpio. This is a fascinating moon sign.